Welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. SJ, Stongo, Gary Fife, Jaho, Jeff Gedos, Mvskoke Radio, Mabo Hedgeta Wedgkiz. Welcome to our program here in beautiful downtown Okmulgee, or should we call it Nowata? Anyway, we are here with another program today. A couple of segments we have lined up. In the first discussion, we'll be talking with Michael Shaw of the new Staffing Solutions Group here in Okmulgee, an agency set up to provide employment and some temporary kinds of jobs. If you're looking for a job, you might want to check out these folks there. And in the second half, we'll be getting an update on the Dakota Access Project resistance from Rojer Johnson. Now, we spoke with him briefly last week to get an update on his visit up there. So we'll be talking with him about what he's seen, more Mvskoke people wanting to go up north and take supplies, and our reporter Hadi Carranzo will be joining in that discussion to kind of fire off some questions and break her in a little bit there for us. So first of all, let me welcome to the studios Michael Shaw. Thank you, sir, for making a few minutes to come in. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you guys this morning.
All right. Now, we noticed a month or two back, at least, a new sign over at Mvskoke Nation Business Enterprises said Staffing Solutions, and pricked my interest, and I thought, well, we need to talk to these folks and see what they've got up their sleeves. So why don't we start there? First of all, it is a project of MNBE, right?
So it's a project of NNB. So we actually have reestablished that. So Mvskoke Nation Businesses is the umbrella in which we'll establish all of our 8A companies. So anywhere, Mvskoke Staffing Solution is the first of those 8A companies, with some other companies coming under that fold very shortly.
Oh, good. And it sounds like we'll probably have to have more of those folks come in. First of all, let me find out for our listeners, what is Staffing Solutions? What's it set up to do?
Yeah, Mvskoke Staffing Solutions is a full-scale commercial and eventually government contracting staffing agency. Our goal for Mvskoke Staffing Solutions is to really provide opportunities for the communities in which we live and work. I mean, Mvskoke, the Mvskoke Creek Nation, we're not going anywhere, right? We know where our original jurisdictional boundaries are, and these are everybody in our community is our family, whether they're Mvskoke or other native or non-native at all. We're all one family, and this is our community, and we want to be able to provide employment opportunities to keep people here in our community.
Well, that raises the immediate question, how about Native people who are members of other federally recognized tribes? Would they be eligible to become involved, apply for jobs, and that sort of thing?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're actually open to all individuals to apply. We're an equal opportunity employer. Of course, we do, and you're very familiar with this. Mvskoke Creek Nation is always going to try to place our tribal members and our other Native tribal members as well. But we really, our goal is to go head to head with those other, the Express, Manpower, Adecco. We're a true, fully functional commercial, and so probably to dispel one of the myths about Mvskoke Staffing Solution is that we only staff for Mvskoke Creek Nation, and that's not accurate. We actually are working with several manufacturers in the Mvskoke Okmulgee area. We're working towards some partnerships with some call centers in Tulsa. So we're really a diversified organization that staffs for all organizations in those communities.
Under that eligibility Would that mean all community members, including non-native people, could they apply?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
All right. Now, when we say employment opportunities and things, now, are we talking about like a temp agency where you might have a cadre of folks who have different skills and might get opportunities to take jobs, or permanent positions at some point? What do we got there?
So we provide temporary positions, just like you're saying, or we have temporary to permanent where employers want to see what the product that they're getting before they offer a full-time permanent position. And then we also offer direct hire services as well. Let's say that somebody says, you know what, I just don't want to have to hire a recruiter because I only recruit 15 people a year. Why would I want to go pay somebody $30, $40, $50, $60,000 a year when I could use you guys, and you guys are recruiting 24/7 at all these job fairs and all that? You can actually help me find the best employee that meets my company culture better. And so that's really where we provide that service.
I guess, and let me try this example and see if this is what we're talking about here. There's a brand new commercial development out on 75. It's probably going to go head to head with the Travel Plaza. And if they did not want to hire their own HR people and that kind of thing, they could come to you and say, okay, I need 12 employees, 6 behind the counter and 6 maintenance or whatever else. So they could do that with you then.
And we'd take their business in a heartbeat. So we actually we provide those services for our Mvskoke Nation travel plazas currently, so again, we can really become an extension of the human resources group, especially from the recruiting and staffing side.
I'm sure there are people out there scratching their heads and wondering, well, okay, that sounds interesting, but what kind of jobs?
Okay, so we really specialize more in hospitality, call center customer service, and light industrial manufacturing positions. So that's anywhere from your CNC operator to your customer service clerk.
CNC is?
Oh, I'm sorry. So that's your machinist in your manufacturing operation. So, okay. By the way, just a quick plug on that. Green Country Technology Center has a great CNC program. I got to tour all their stuff. It's fascinating what those kids are doing and how they're graduating with jobs that pay them $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was 18, 19 years old, I didn't get offered those type of opportunities. So it's fantastic what they're doing, and we want to help those kids remain employed and remain in our community.
Well, I just got this vision in my head. Dang it, I'm in the wrong business. Oh, well, that's what you do when you become a journalist. As I always say, you take your vow of poverty and public service and that sort of thing. Now, Okmulgee isn't the largest job market in Oklahoma, but it's fairly decent size compared to, say, Tulsa, and probably the next largest in our region. That and Mvskoke, and maybe further over in Cherokee Country in Tahlequah. But what kind of market is it? Is it really active? Are they really hungry for people, or is it kind of saturated and we're kind of taking it easy as we go? What do you see?
Well, what we're seeing is that, and it's the truth with all staffing firms, is there's kind of a ebb and flow, if you will. And so some companies are starting to ramp up on new projects. Some are ramping down currently. Where we really find where we can serve the community the best is that we're a hometown market opportunity. Again, like I said earlier, we're not going anywhere as the Mvskoke Creek Nation. Okmulgee, Mvskoke, and Tulsa, that triangle right there, that's home for us. Has been for many generations of our tribe. And we're going to continue to this is going to continue to be home. And so for us to provide services to those folks and provide quality individuals to those manufacturers, to those who shall not be named across from a travel plaza per se, that's going to keep those industries in our towns. And if we can provide that opportunity and that service, then that means that we can continue to have a community that thrives and grows.
Well, to give them credit, I guess the Okmulgee Rising kind of campaign now is producing results, and we're seeing growth like that. So do you see a potentially more lucrative job market right here in this little community?
Absolutely. So it's funny that you talk about Okmulgee Rising, because I just had the opportunity to meet with some of their folks last week. And that's one of the things that's really exciting for us, is that I think we really do have an opportunity to bring great people and then give them a downtown atmosphere that's going to keep people here and keep people staying in Okmulgee. So it's a great community and it's great jobs. Well, why would I want to go anywhere else? And that's really where we think we can help out.
Okay, well, you might want to look at the assessment that guy did a few months back about Okmulgee. It's got a lot of potential, but it still needs a few things, like
that's right,
stuff to do at night, things like that. As we look at the potential job market, what are you seeing? Do you have any feel for numbers or anything like that? Is it a really hungry market here, or is it something that people might have to be a little patient with?
I think it's probably not the most dynamic job market currently, but there are employers hiring. They just want people who are dedicated to getting the job done and working hard, and that's what we hear a lot when we go to talk to employers. They're like, well, we just want quality people. And so we want to be able to provide them quality individuals that have been vetted, background, pre-screened, drug screened, and give them the opportunity to have the best opportunity to be successful.
Well, you mentioned a couple of things there that have become really important factors in the employment market. The background checks and then drug testing. Is that really prevalent now? I mean, if you're still actively dealing with illegal drugs and things like that, you're probably not going to get a job.
Yeah, it's a hard job market for somebody who can't kick that addiction, and we know. Yeah. I mean, that unfortunately, when somebody can't kick that addiction, they're more apt. Whether it be legal, meaning alcohol, or illegal, meaning marijuana, or any amphetamines, etc. They're not as dependable as an employee, and so employers aren't willing to take as much of a risk on those individuals, and so that's really why you see the pre-screening, drug screens, etc. So yeah, but the advantage of us being tribally owned, and especially for our Native American applicants, are if somebody were to come to us and say, hey, look, I really do need a job, but they're struggling with that, we can actually connect them with the resources to make them to help them get over that habit. In fact, I just had a gentleman come see me, really well qualified, and I won't say what his skill set is, just so I can make this as much as vanilla as possible, but has great qualifications, struggled with alcohol his entire life. And so, but now he's getting his life back together, and his last thing is getting that driver's license. And we were able to talk with him and provide him some guidance on where to go find that, some assistance to get that driver's license back, so that it can give him ample opportunity now that he's really got past that barrier, so that he can move forward in finding successful and long-term gainful employment.
Well, that's great. To hear that you're willing to go that extra step or two and not just sort of slam the door in people's faces. What are you doing numbers-wise so far? Can you give us a feel for the numbers of people coming to you looking for jobs? I know you're new, but is it taking off? I mean, what do we see here?
So we really, although the Mvskoke Nation businesses wrote our articles of incorporation back last October, the company really didn't start probably until right about my first day, which was August 1st. So we think we're doing pretty well. We have about 400 people in our applicant database that has a variety of different skills. And so we've already got, I believe, approximately 35 people placed in different organizations. And so we're moving right along. We were actually just asked by a local employer, hey, if I told you I needed 10 people in the next 48 hours, could you do it? And we said pretty confidently, yeah, we could make that happen, because we feel like we're getting out there. I mean, we're every job fair. In fact, February 28th, the Mvskoke Nation, the College of Mvskoke is a job fair for our veterans. And then following that up on the 6th, we've got a job fair here in Okmulgee, which I'm excited that we're getting to be a part of. On the 13th, we're going to be in Tulsa, and on the 14th of October, we're going to be in Bricktown. So we're going everywhere and anywhere to find qualified applicants, so that we can provide them the opportunity for the great jobs that are here in Okmulgee and Mvskoke and in Tulsa.
Of that prospective labor force, what kind of job skills are they bringing? Is it secretarial? Is it retail and consumer oriented, or mechanical? What do you see there?
So it's very diversified, and it really depends on the jobs that we're looking for. So I placed an ad for Mvskoke for some operations, general labor for a warehouse job, and in 2 days I got 16 applicants that had great qualifications, having previously been in that labor market. And so it really is diversified. Now, as a community, I want to see more kids going through that CNC program, that machinist operator program. As a community, what we see and what I see just from being an HR director for 15 years before I came back to the nation to work in the capacity with the staffing agency is that some of your electricians and your heating and air and your plumbers and your machine operators, we're not pushing our kids to those educational opportunities. That's guaranteed employment right off the bat, and so that's where I would love to see more individuals as we continue to move, and that's where I really want to work with the city of Okmulgee and Mvskoke, probably more so than any, is getting that word out to their kids to say, hey, look, college is great. I loved my college experience. But if it's not for you, hey, there's some great programs at your local technology centers that could provide you employment for the rest of your life. Because if you have a skill, nobody can take it away from you.
Right. I work with an electric utility in Alaska, and a lot of those guys wearing Carhartts were making a whole lot more than I was.
That's right. No, absolutely. That's
they had
right.
Training, of course, technical skills, but college was not for them, and they chose wisely.
That's right.
The movie says. Now, are we any in danger of, saturating a particular job skill? Are there more retail applicants than there are jobs? I mean, how does that ratio work out?
Currently, I think where I see the greatest job opportunity, again, I'm going to go back to those hard skills, the electricians, the operation, customer service. Quite honestly, I mean, yes, if you've gone into any customer service oriented groups, sometimes it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, they have no idea what customer service is. Not from when I can get that. I'm almost 40, so I'm almost a man in Mike Gundy's eyes. So I can start doing these young kids thing. They don't know. They don't understand what customer service is. I knew what customer service was, but really, it's those tangible skills that you can get at an OSUIT. Which, by the way, fantastic group that we want to recruit from heavily, because they have tangible skills that I can go out to a job market and say, hey, look, if I have 100 of these people, I can place them. If I have 1,000 of them, people will come here and start their business. So, if you have the workers and you have the as you were talking about nightlife and the type of things that families want to do to establish themselves in a community, people will come here all day. Manufacturers will come here all day. I can place anybody. If you've got the skill, we'll find you the right employer. And the reverse of that, if an employer comes and tells me, hey, I'm looking for XYZ skill, we're going to go find it. And so we can, we can really become the eHarmony of staffing agencies here in Okmulgee and Mvskoke.
Oh, yeah. Now, how does this work? Now, if someone came in and applied, do you put them in a data bank, and that doesn't guarantee a job immediately? If something comes up, there's a list of people. How does this work?
So it's both. We have some positions that we routinely and continually recruit for because we know that that's what the client customer base is going to look for, the employer customer base is going to look for, and so we keep them. But we also have the ability, and this is where we really get our mastering the science of staffing. Tagline is that we have the ability to assess individuals, and I'll be honest with you, I don't care if somebody is on the Einstein level when it comes to math or even reading comprehension. What I care about is, are there common denominators, are there common factors that lead somebody to be successful in a position? If it's being a successful radio host, hey, look, they scored 80% on math, 100% on reading, and on these couple of other behavioral analysis on whether they were more customer service focused or more detail focused. What were the common denominators? And when I match those up, what we find out are people are numbers too, right? And we can match those numbers up, and you can find, hey, here are the common personality profiles and education and cognitive profiles of successful job candidates. So it really is, that's where we really take the guessing game out, because everybody's great in the interview.
Okay.
I've never met anybody who wasn't great in an interview.
Well, I have to admit I was not 80% in math, and that's why I'm a radio producer.
You're being humbled. I knew it was more 95. I just didn't want people to get intimidated when they came on the show. So,
okay, well, there are directions you can go with particular strengths and skills, and you can help people kind of find those things. I think, do you have staff to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now let's recap a few things before we let you go and move on. The job market here is not real fierce, but there are jobs, right?
There are jobs, and that's where we really do our due diligence. That's why it's really great to come through a staffing agency, because if you're an employee, you go fill out 100 applications. Mm-hmm. And whereas we go in and represent dozens of different companies, and so we really provide that opportunity, one application for multiple job.
Now, the jobs that you are finding and making available are generally in the temporary kind of category, Mike?
Temporary to permanent. So it's really those employers that just want to see, hey, are you worthy of being with me? Mm-hmm. If you're a good employee that first 90 days that you work through us, then a lot of times they'll say, hey, let's bring them on board.
All right. Now, if a listener was interested in becoming part of your data bank and came in to they fill out an application, mm-hmm. What information should they be ready to provide, and what kind of certification, documentation, etc., should they bring with them?
So my recommendation, if you're at home and you have access to computers, first go to mssjobs.net. Again, that's mssjobs.net. You go there, and then there'll be an opportunity for you to upload your resume and any certifications as well.
All right. Now, if someone wanted to gain more information about what you can do, what is your contact points?
So mssjobs.net, they can email me. My email is real simple. It's Mike MIKE at mssjobs.net. If there's employers looking for qualified applicants, we want to connect them. If there's applicants looking to become gainfully employed, then we send them through that application process first, and then we see what skill sets they have and try to match that up with the employers that are contacting us and that we're actively contacting.
I guess that's pretty much everything on the top of my head now. Are you going to be involved in any upcoming events or job fairs? I know you've mentioned them once, but I think they're worth repeating here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually on September 28th. We're at 2 veteran job fairs. One that's going to be up in Tulsa, and then one that'll be here at the college. And then on October 6th at Green Country Technology Center, we'll be at the job fair there, and there'll be approximately 30 employers there for the Okmulgee job fair. On October 13th, we're up in Tulsa at Eastgate for a large job fair there. I bet there's probably 300 employers up there.
Boy.
It's going to be huge. And then on the 14th, I'll be in downtown Bricktown.
Oklahoma City,
in Oklahoma City, that's right. And so we'll be there, and that'll be another 200-300 employers, I think, probably too.
Okay, well, Mike Shaw, thank you so much for coming in and kind of filling us in on this new project. Now, if someone was interested in dropping in, they could find you at MNBE.
That's right, 1018 Southwood.
And if you're not familiar with the address, just go find a donut shop and go south, right?
There we go. Hey, thank you so much for having me today.
And God, it's a pleasure. So, all right, stay with us here on Mvskoke Radio. We'll take a break here, and we'll be back with Rojer Johnson, who is going to share his experiences working with the protectors up at the Dakota Access Pipeline Resistance. So please stay with us here on 1240 The Brew.
I started doing it when I was 11. I wanted to be just like my big brother. And some of my friends were already doing it. We got hooked fast. I just can't get enough. I'm Jacob, and I'm addicted to playing the drums.
There's lots of stuff that makes it cool to be native. Doing meth isn't one of them. Find something better to do. Check out ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Who am I? Am I native? I don't want people assuming things because I'm Indian. I just want to be me. But how do I live in 2 worlds? Some guys just check out by doing meth. But that ain't for me. Because I see my family, my friends, my drum making, my future. There are a lot of cool things about being who I am. And meth isn't one of them.
Learn more at ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
One Fire Casino in Okmulgee offers Ladies' Day every Monday with $5 match play, VIP days for seniors on Tuesdays, lunchtime match plays on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and several other great drawings and prizes throughout the weekend. Don't forget to take advantage of spinning the wheel on Sundays to win up to $5,000 cash. Be sure to check out the daily meal specials at Council Oak Cafe. There are exciting monthly giveaways with extravagant prizes. Come and play at One Fire Casino, where it really is okay to play with fire.
Welcome back to Mvskoke Radio. Rojer Johnson from our Tourism and Recreation Department has joined us. We want to thank him for all his work in support of the Dakota Access Pipeline peace camps up there and the resistance against. We've had some incredible news there, some highs and lows, first of all saying, no, you're out of luck, and then the second one coming in and say, yes, you are. You're in good shape. Strange, kind of a roller coaster of emotions there. But first of all, let's fill us in. Now, you have taken a trip up there. What was it? A week ago? 2 weeks ago?
Roughly, it was about a month ago.
Okay, yeah, and we're among the people there, and I am just incredibly curious to find out what you saw. What was it like? I mean, in terms of the size of the camp and the number of tribes and the range of age of people. I mean, what was it like?
Right on, man.
Before you get off, let me invite our listeners, if you're interested in making a comment or have a question for Roger, give us a call here at 918-756-3646 and become part of our discussion on this incredibly important topic. So it's 756-3646. Give us a call. Let us know what's on your mind. Okay, go ahead, Roger.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gary. I guess I could start from the conception of the idea of wanting to go up there and provide a service or help, or however you want to say it. Me and a good friend of mine, we wanted to really do something. We've been reading all the headlines on social media, on on newspapers, etc., and it really kind of became just like, well, what's stopping us? I have a wife and kid, and I, turned to the wife, and she just asked me, you need to go. If you feel a deep inclination to go, then go. So I'm really thankful for her support, and, well, we loaded up 2 days later or a day and a half later, and then we went. Made the 16-hour trip. Got there bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to go that morning, really not knowing what to expect. You know what I mean? But whatever we could do, whatever void that we could feel, that's what we wanted to do. It wasn't anything to broadcast our name as like, this, look at what we're doing or anything else like that. It was something that you just feel that was put on your heart and your mind and a pull to go. So we loaded the car up with like a few cases of water and a few sacks of groceries, just something that we could tote up there, give them, and out of help and out of respect and anything that we could give them, that's what we wanted to do. When we get into the camp, at first you're just at complete amazement when you put your eyes and you lay your eyes on inside the camp. You see 3,000 Native Americans out there. 3,000 of our relatives that are up there. So, you definitely take a step back before you take a step forward of just in awe alone. You're just, wow, this is what a peaceful protest is supposed to look like. If there was a prototype for a peaceful protest, I would say that is the image that you would see. Starting with getting everything out of the car and everything else like that, and we walk into the, I think it was like the resource tent or something like that. Don't really know the names, but they had a huge tent there, and that's where they had all the goods, the water, the groceries, and everything else like that. And we walk in, we were greeted by an old elder woman who was just barely got out of her chair, just came over there, just gave us both hugs, and was just like, we really appreciate it. She was a resident of Standing Rock Reservation, for her to say, now that you're here, and that makes us family with everything, that's a very humbling and a very surreal experience. I keep coming back to the word surreal, but this is something that's going on within our time, within our generation right now. I believe the last time we had any kind of American Indian protest or anything else like that, it wasn't too far ago, but something major. We was looking at the 1970s. We had the big rise of AIM. Well, AIM was there as well. The American Indian Movement. To define the acronym, it was. It's everything that you see, it's everything that you feel, the energy when you walk in there, and the absolute humble emotion that is pulled out of you. It's indescribable. So we walked around the camp, helped people set up their tents, helped people set up their camps, toted water here, did this here, and that's what, as young men, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to work and help out your neighbor. That's biblical. That's what you're supposed to do. Well, then we wanted to venture on, and another young man told us that where the front line was. And of course, just wanted to see it. And they said there's nothing, no erratic behavior. There's no cops out there right now, but we definitely wanted to see where the front line was. So what everybody sees on social media, the barricades, the big cement blocks, and all the heavy equipment that's there, it's all there. But the time I went there, there was no activity, or it has been ceased at the moment. We got to go there, and then more emotion is pulled out of you. You see all the flags, you see all the banners, you see all the barricades, and you see the point of resistance. Now, to be right there, quote-unquote, ground zero at the essential resistance spot, it's mind-blowing. It really is. It pulls so much energy out of you, you can't help but to feel for those people.
Now, during my lifetime, we've had several major events like this, and things that, as a young person, decades ago, it inspired me. Things like Alcatraz, Trail of Broken Treaties in Washington, D.C., and then right after that was Wounded Knee, and then there have been others in different places. And these are recognized pretty much as the high points of Native American activism and resistance.
Correct.
Would you rank this among those, or even surpassing that from the sound of the number of people there? It sounds like it was even bigger than those events.
I would give it definitely equal caliber. I wasn't present during those previous times or even active on any of those times, but at the same fact, with knowing the information I have now of those items of discussion, I would say it's definitely of equal caliber. I mean, now they said, I think the last statistic I read was there was 5,000 to 7,000 natives there. I mean, I don't know if you could put 5,000 to 7,000 people on Alcatraz or 5,000 to 7,000 people at Wounded Knee, but still, the emotions there and what we're standing for is of equal caliber.
One thing that I think is important to discuss at this point, there is a lot of inclusion of Native spiritualism here. Even the cops mistook the Chinoopas, the peace pipes, for pipe bombs. But does that spirituality spread itself throughout all of the people there? Do they all respect it?
Absolutely. Obviously, being around people of Native descent, we have a strong tie to our cultural heritage, from a cultural aspect, from a spiritual aspect. Inside the camp, everybody respects it. Nobody does anything of negative connotation, if that makes any sense. There's nobody frowning on it, and everybody is very accepting of their own way. I mean, these ways have been around for centuries on top of centuries. And now, I think where the disconnect now is from people, from a human point of view, they've lost those ways. Not Native Americans, but, we don't go into your church and throw away things or, scream and holler and provoke any kind of negative energy whatsoever. And so when you get there and you see those, I don't know what to call them, the other people, I guess, the against, who are for the pipeline, I guess you'd say it that way. For them to kind of desecrate our culture and to kind of, desecrate our spirituality, I mean, that's where you have to draw the line. I mean,
right,
go
there
ahead.
are sacred sites here being defiled. I don't know if they've uncovered any burials or not with those bulldozer blades or not, but that hasn't been reported. But this is what we're talking about. I mean, we wouldn't go into somebody else's cemetery with a tractor and
Correct.
tear things up.
Correct. And I mean, I had an interview probably about 2 weeks ago, and I asked the same gentleman. He asked me a very, I don't know if he was going for a prescribed response or not, but you could tell he's like, so what do you think of, them, bulldozing sacred sites? Well, would you be happy if I went and bulldozed and dug up all your grandpa and your grandma and all your friends and relatives too? The man was speechless. So I mean, to put things in contrast and comparison for those people, I think that's where they can make the connection. We don't want anything from everyone, and that's what I believe one of the messages was. We want the sustainability of our livelihood to remain, and then that's what they're fighting for. And so when you see that firsthand, it's like some of the issues that we gripe and complain about at home are completely meaningless, not even on the radar or even of the same magnitude of sustainability of life and water.
No, we have been hearing of dozens of tribes making their presence known both officially and unofficially. And a big line of tribal flags along the fence lines and things like this. In my experience, I've never seen anything like that. I mean, there are demonstrations, people of different tribes show up, and it's small scale compared to this, but this is huge, all across the nation there. Now, were you able to meet people from other tribes and talk to them about why they were there?
Absolutely. We ran into, believe it or not, on our travels, we stopped at the same rest stop when we came out, and we seen some Kiowa tags and some Comanche tags, and we said, hey, we're from Oklahoma too. They seen our Creek tag, and we all started a convo. Well, we got there, and we set up our camp with them, and then we got to again, walk around and we send people, helping them set up their camps and delivering goods and so on and so forth, you get to meet a lot of people. And the same consensus from everybody is like, we're here for everyone. And so for them to have that devout statement of just, we're here for everyone, we're here for our Native brothers and sisters, I mean, now you're just like, wow. Mm-hmm. Nothing could ever measure to that.
We'd like to remind our listeners, if you would like to take part in our discussion, give us a call here at 918-756-3646. We'd love to hear from you and see how you feel about this particular topic. In recent weeks, we've seen a number of demonstrations locally, and we're hearing about them all around the nation. In Tulsa, we saw that one there, and then I understand there was one just the other day in Tahlequah. Mm-hmm. Other tribes are standing up and making their feelings known about this. Mm-hmm. Now, how does it make you feel when you find out about this sort of thing and the support that's being developed in Indian country all over?
Awesome, just awesome. People that can't make it because, the real issues come in hand, like some people got families, some people got relatives, some people have people they have to look after and they just can't peel away. So if they feel a deep inclination to go up there, to wherever the site may be, whether it be Tulsa, Tahlequah, or even if we used to in the future have one in Otmulgee of support, wherever the site of support is and they go, as long as they feel as they have done their due diligence, I think they feel better about themselves, because there's a lot of things that come forward that can peel you literally away from activities and not being able to make that 32-hour round trip. It's tough, so to see the support from people who are here in Oklahoma, which is predominantly Native American country, and to see the support around the world. You read those comments, some people are from the UK, some people are from Australia, some people are literally from all over the world. This issue has went global, international. So to see our own standing up for our own, what else can you say? That's what we're supposed to do, right?
For folks who have not been following the issue, I understand, I saw on Facebook the other day where there's a Hawaiian delegation that showed up, and I believe there were some, was it Maori people from New Zealand that had come in?
I believe so.
So the tribes around the nation are kind of around the globe are linking arms in this particular issue. We saw the other day where the court ruling was for completion of the pipeline, saying they'd done their work, they'd done their reports and surveys and things like this, and just right on the tail of that, the administration, Interior, Justice, and another agency had said, well, wait a minute here now. Maybe we didn't. Maybe you better revisit those surveys you did, because they look like they handled them in a very fast manner. They zip right through them. That's a real emotional roller coaster there now. Were you familiar with those announcements, and how did it make you feel?
Very familiar with the announcements. In the beginning, that's what pulls you to that place. I wanted to go definitely and see it for my own eyes. It's a piece of history. And then with those announcements, you're just like, it's a deflator. But also, you have a few moments of weakness and you instantly become, I don't know what the word is looking for, but you definitely have more drive. It's motivating to go against and to be part of the resistance. Am I making sense here? It's simple for the simple facts that, if somebody's going to come into your land and take all your resources, that instantly sparks rebellion. And so I don't understand, and I think it's globally, and when people don't understand, why wouldn't you rebel? And it's not only the Standing Rock Reservation, they're literally trying to protect the water. So, and I appreciate, you opening up with the protection comment. They're protecting the way of life down there, because it's not only going to affect the Standing Rock Reservation. The Missouri River does flow downstream, and it's going to affect the ecosystem. It's going to affect everybody else downstream if that water line, or when that pipeline breaks.
Well, you have to think back to incidents like the Exxon Valdez and Prince William Sound in Alaska, I mean, they're still feeling the echoes of that disaster there. And by the way, don't worry about it. When you speak from the heart, Roger, it's hard to lose your place.
Right.
So we want you to remember that and say what's on your mind.
Absolutely.
We've seen, of course, our own nation send, I don't know officially, but you were part of that effort to take things north. And people, we got a call in our office from a gentleman looking for a ride. He wanted to go. And he was an elder guy. And, I think, oh, my God, I'm not
He's now.
I'm feeling too old to do this, and this guy's older than I am. So it's
But the interest is there.
Yeah.
The interest is there. And, you get a lot of good feedback from the elders who are just like, they see it, the two generations before me, I think of my grandparents, they went through the civil rights movement, so they see and they have experienced those things firsthand, the 60s, the 70s, and they had to still deal with some of the racial conflicts today sometimes. I mean, let's face it, we do, on the same token. That's immediately what this whole interest is sparked about. It's, all the way from the elder generations, and our generation, we're protecting the way of life for our little ones.
Now, did you see a real range of ages while you were there? I mean, we've seen pictures of elders, where they, lots of them there, and then all the way down to the little ones.
Absolutely. There were women there carrying around babies. Carrying around babies, and you see little kids playing, not really knowing what's going on, but they're part of the protection movement, let's label it that way, part of the protection movement. They're there, they're doing their thing, and then you have my generation, a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger, who actually are at the battlefront, and it's, I feel like the message across the world has been received like, we're these grassroots people who just don't want to be messed with. Yes, we are at the same time, but we also, this is protection of a way of life completely. We're not here to they were not there to just make a mess out of nothing. If you really do the research and you really follow the dialogue and all the propaganda that's been following it, you see it's a big issue. Now, I think people should really look at within themselves and question, is it an issue of morality, ethics? Because that's essentially what it's all being looked at. How wrong is it to create a pipeline that when it busts is going to contaminate a lot of people's way of life? There's been several Facebook posts about, we had the closing of our complex yesterday to a water line break. Now, with our Head Start people, our child care and everything else like that, they had to drink out of bottled water, and they were cleaning their hands with wipes and everything else. Isn't that a case in point right there? So if you take away water, it alters so much life right out the gate. And now we're in a boil advisory. Now we have to boil our water and everything else before we even use it for drinking or anything. I mean, those were just two very big contrasts and comparison ordeals that came immediately hit home yesterday, and we were only without water for hours. Now imagine that times a million.
Right, that is a perfect example that our listeners should think about. It's like you miss something as precious as water, and think, you see how much we rely on it for everything. Honey, we've been kind of steamrolling this conversation here. Do you have any questions you wanted to toss at Roger?
Yes, I do. Roger, do you have any plans on going back up there?
Not at the moment. I sure don't. If I'm ever called back, by a big purpose or just by, feel another deep inclination. I mean, every day I feel like I should go back and be doing something, but, I'll be honest, I have a wife and a baby son. They need a lot of my attention too, and I mean, I pray every day for them and the whole movement that needs to happen. It's a very big deal, and I pray for everyone that goes up there, and, I want everybody to continue it on, move forward, keep moving forward with the resistance, and if I'm ever called back, I'll be more than happy to go back.
Any follow-up there?
What did this whole experience mean to you?
I think the experience for me was just a chapter in my adulthood. Maybe not a whole chapter, but just a very big vital piece. Everybody knows I do the Creek Fit class, and I look after people that come in and out of the dome and everything. But I think if you really want to learn what service towards your tribe is, be a part of something like that. It's a definite reiteration of why you do what you do every day. Even from a communication and a media standpoint, from a health and fitness standpoint, to education, to training, to clinics and everything else. If you see that and see how those people are just humble and warm and just so welcoming, that's why you do it every day, for those people. And because we have those same exact people within our jurisdiction. Definitely.
In the time you were there, what was the, I don't know, what would you call it, relationship between those protectors there standing on the lines and the police force? I mean, was there hostility there, or were they everybody just sort of standing off and kind of saying, well, let's not start anything?
Right.
What did you see?
I never got to set eyes on an actual hostile environment. It was non-hostile when I was there. There was no people confronting any police officers or any type of law enforcement when I was there, so I really can't speak on that. I mean, outside of what you see on social media, I really can't speak on it because I simply didn't experience it there. When I was there, my time there, it was just everybody seemed to be in deep prayer and taking care of each other and just gearing up for the next big movement, the next big step, whatever it may have been, on their agenda. But I mean, everybody was just taking care of each other, standing strong together, as opposed to just making violent, outrageous, and this big, large demonstrations of violence and aggression. So, I mean, it almost seemed like they were together and they knew they were together. And so, with that being said, I mean, strong. It felt like a strong unity is probably the best two words to explain it all.
We've been aware that there are others who are planning trips up there, and they're talking truckloads of things that are needed. And we're hearing, of course, from our good sister Sarah Deer that one of the things they need is money, because there's going to be a legal battle eventually that they're going to need to be able to handle. Are you familiar with any of these people who are planning to go up north in case somebody has a question or wanted to become part of it? Can they not hook up, but can they find people who are heading up there in those directions, or if there are donations?
Oh, I'm sure. To segue off your point earlier, in the effort to provide donations for Standing Rock, we were a small piece and part of it. We were simply just a donation site. I believe another individual organized some items to be delivered. But outside of that, for people who want to go up there and want to be involved, start networking a little bit, put some feelers out. If you feel like going, maybe, again, using social media, text a few friends if they know anybody. If you want to reach out to me and see if anybody wants to go, if I came across, feel free to. Be ready, though. If you make your journey, the long trip, it's really nothing. But when you get there, be ready. Be ready for a mixture of emotions. Be ready for, a forcible mindset being put on you. You're not going there for a vacation. Don't let that be a big thing. Please don't go for just, notoriety of yourself or anything else. Please don't go for just to go and just for like a promo thing. Go because you want to see your soul, something that's going to tattoo your soul, and something that you can search within inside yourself to find a deeper meaning, because it's there. It's within our neighborhood, essentially. I mean, Native America is everybody's neighborhood if you're Native. That's the way I feel. It's just up north. Those are relatives of ours. It's right there. You go up there with a purpose. Go up there wanting to help. Your hands better get dirty. You just be of use.
Just don't go to hang out.
You're right.
And you should think in terms of being self-sufficient too, right?
Right. Being self-sufficient. If you gotta, take some sanitizer, take a couple rags, take a couple things to take care of yourself, because if you're there, be prepared to stay a little bit. It's be of use. I think that's what anybody could ask of anybody. Go up there, hug people, tell them you're praying for them, pray with them. That's what I did. And it was just a very, very great experience, given the circumstances. I can't say it was great, but I mean, it was definitely an experience in itself.
Well, this is a sacrifice that you're making there. So I don't think you could expect it to be comfortable.
Right.
Speaking of comfort, you should at least think in terms of a tent and a sleeping bag and things like this, right?
Right.
And extra water and whatever you'll need to perhaps feed yourself or whatever.
Absolutely.
Roger, if there was, a final thought that you wanted to leave with someone about this issue or thoughts about going north to join the resistance, what would it be?
For anyone who is for the pipeline, please understand, if it passes, you may see the spark of a revolution inside Native America. There are 500 nations within the United States of America. You've only seen 60 plus up there. If this passes, you may very well see all 500 plus. Don't think about the ones that are there. Think about the ones who are not there yet. There is peace now. If you destroy someone's land or tamper with their way of life, expect resistance, expect rebellion, expect aggression. And I'm not forecasting inner future. I'm just speaking off a basic human principle. With all those being said, I ask that everyone prays for the people in Standing Rock and the whole entire movement. And I thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming in and sharing your experience. Rojer Johnson with the Tourism and Recreation Department. If someone wanted to ask you a question or find any network or just kind of figure out what they wanted to do, how do they get in touch with you?
Definitely. Get hold of me at 918-732-7991. That's right to my office line.
Okay. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
We're going to take another pause here, and we'll be back with some community announcements, so please stay with us here on Mvskoke Radio.
Hear that? That's the sound of hope being killed by meth. Methamphetamine use is causing huge problems in our community. Hear that? That's the sound of something you can do about it. Events like rodeo, res ball, and family time can help keep kids away from meth.
Talk to your kids. Keep our culture alive. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Learn more at ncai.org.
Who am I? Am I Indian? Just 'cause I'm a girl from the res, don't make things up about me. What if I move away? Then who am I? Some kids try meth just to escape, but then I think about my grandma, my little brother, my beadwork, my poetry, and I think I like who I am, and I know meth is not for me.
Check out ncai.org, a message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
All right, welcome back to Mvskoke Radio. We've got some community announcements here to share with you. For those folks who are interested in learning the Yuchi language, a program has been started over in Kellyville. They've got community classes and elder sessions all lined up already in progress. So if you're interested, you might want to check that out. Get a hold of those folks over in Kellyville at 918-747-6130. That's the Yuchi language program, which is already in progress.
Trevor Fish, a member of the Mvskoke Nation Youth Council, is coordinating a book drive that will benefit the Murrow Indian Children's Home and Children and Family Services program. You can donate new or used books at the Mvskoke Nation Youth Services, located at 112 East 6th Street between September 20th and October 20th. For more information, you can contact them at 918-549-2557.
In another announcement and language news, the Mvskoke language class schedule is already in motion. Also, if you're interested, there are opportunities for Head Start students, for daycare students, and adult classes, which are open to all if you're interested. They've begun. Let's see here. If you're interested, it's the Mvskoke Creek Nation Language Program, 918-732-7724, and I'll put my own backing behind that. I've begun to learn that language, our language, our Mvskoke, and I really appreciate it and glad for that opportunity. So you might want to check that one out yourself.
If you're interested in celebrating the Mvskoke way of life, you can do so at Cultural Day, sponsored by the Mvskoke Creek Nation Office of Child Care on September 30th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. For more information, you can call 918-732-7680.
If you're a fan of boxing and the ring type arena sports, Big Card Promotion has presented a very interesting looking card of boxing coming up at the Mvskoke Creek Dome on the 24th. And there are a number of participants there, and I'm not going to get into those tongue twister names this time. So if you're interested, there have begun ticket sales at ticketstorm.com. And let's see, 24th, doors open 6 p.m., fights begin at 7 p.m., so check it out at the Dome.
Okmulgee is having another county fall job fair on October 6th at Greene County Technology Center. For more information, you can contact 918-732-7780.
Okay, that's all we have time for here today, so appreciate you all listening. I'm Gary Fife. Mado Mabo Hedgetsgut. Been listening to Mvskoke